greetings. Today is Pentecost. I don't have no light in here, so let me get some and establish some. It's not raining in South Florida. That's a good thing. We've had a lot of rain, as you all know, and it's been a little rough. Thank goodness the class did not get all of that. So we were very fortunate on that retrospect. But the main street south of us got it. Pentecost. Happy Pentecost. Today is the morrow after the Sabbath. That's what today is. The morrow after the Sabbath. Yesterday was 7 Sabbaths. We were talking yesterday, and I felt like if I went live today, there would be a need to bring something out. And I want to bring that out. And that is this. Jesus is the first fruits. Okay? He is the first fruits. He is the harvest. A lot of people are trying to follow what I'm going to say is Jewish customs, not Bible, Jewish customs, by trying to find the Omar and count the Omar, or Omer, whatever you want to call it. And I know that Abib means the leaf and it's a plant and what have you. I'm in tune with all of that. However, brothers and sisters, Jesus is the first fruits. What you need to do in order to deal with Pentecost, you need to know when is the harvest of the first fruits, which is Christ. So the question is, when did he resurrect? He is the harvest. And that's how you calculate Pentecost. If you're out trying to look at a plant and trying to count and look at the moon and this and that, I'm going to tell you, you're going to lose Pentecost every time. Then you're going to end up jumping on the calendar and see what the calendar says as to where Pentecost is. And you're going to get lost. That's why you got so many different groups keeping Pentecost different. Because they're trying to mix in an ideology with the scriptures. You can't do it. You're going to lose every time. And what I find is a lot of people trying to follow books out there that they're getting that were written by Jewish people or Judeo-Christian people, and you're going to fall off. You're going to fall off all the way, because even the Jewish people who convert to Christianity, they're following their old practices. And if you want to know how I know that they do that, when it comes to the Feast of Trumpets, if they run around saying Rosh Hashanah, Happy New Year, that's wrong. Okay? So, how do you have to do it? The first thing you need to do is find out the correct date for Passover. That's it. When Jesus was placed in the grave on Passover before the sun went down, all you got to do is calculate 3 days later. And whenever that harvest comes out of the ground, that is the first fruits. The first fruits or the harvest is a reflective of the resurrection. We are the harvest. We are the harvest. They did it in the scriptures dealing with a harvest of when they got into the land. But brothers and sisters, when you read in Colossians, it says the feasts and the Sabbaths are a shadow of things to come. So when we keep Pentecost, we're not keeping Pentecost based upon harvest coming out of the ground. It's about you and I being in the first resurrection. We are that harvest. Jesus is the first fruits of that harvest. He is that sheaf that has to be waved. And whenever you wave that sheaf on the morrow after the Sabbath, that's day one. That's why the very next day when Mary went to the grave, she went to go touch him because she couldn't touch him because he had to be waved first. After he is waved that night, they can handle him. So that's day one. The law of the first fruits in Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, says if your harvest, whenever your harvest comes forth, which is Christ, you must wave it on the morrow after the Sabbath. So if Passover is on a, let's say Passover falls on a Friday, because it's a fixed date, it can fall on any day of the week, any given year. But let's say it fell on a Friday. You got to wait till 3 days and 3 nights later and look at when Jesus would resurrect. So that's going to be Friday to Saturday, Saturday to Sunday, Sunday to Monday. You got to wait till the weekly Sabbath. You got to hold your harvest until the weekly Sabbath, because the harvest has to be weighed on the morrow after the Sabbath, the weekly Sabbath. And that's going to be day one. A point for you to know is this: whatever day of the week, you can do this as an exercise on your own. If you count Wednesday as day one, day 50 will also fall on Wednesday. If you count Thursday as day one, day 50 will always be on a Thursday. Because you start your count on the morrow after the Sabbath, which is the first day of the week, day 50 will always be on the morrow after the Sabbath on the first day of the week. That's just something you could do as an exercise on your own. So since Leviticus tells you to count day one on the morrow after the Sabbath, then you got to go 7 Sabbaths. So from the first day to the 7th day is week 1. The next day, which is day 1 to day 7, is week 2. When you do that 7 times, you will end up on the last Sabbath, or the Sabbath number 7, and the morrow after the 7th Sabbath, which is today, is going to be Pentecost. So Passover this year, you know when it fell, and yesterday was the first fruits when Christ resurrected. You started to count on the morrow after the Sabbath, which was on a Sunday, or the first day of the week, I like saying. So here we are. Today is the first day of the week, and it's day 50. And that's how it rolls. So sometimes we may have taught that in a very longer lesson, and right now I did it in a Reader's Digest form, but that's just the way it is, all right? That's how it flows. So that being said, brothers and sisters, happy Pentecost. Find a location nearest you. Come on and join into the feast. I'm on the way to the class. The doors opened up already, and we're going to be letting our screens down today, tuning in, watching the Pastor Buie on our screens. All of the Israel of God classes will be tuned in to one lesson today. And I like when we do that, because we all get the same lesson, and what a better moment to get that lesson coming from Pastor Buie. So that being said, brothers and sisters, shout out to the Orlando class, my brothers and sisters up there. One of these feasts, I'm going to have to spend the feast up there instead of down in Fort Lauderdale, over that class and sharing my time with my brothers and sisters up there as well. But I will be up there next Sabbath. All those that are in the Orlando area, the class is finished. It's wonderful. It looks great. It's awesome. It's back together. It's a wonderful sight to see. So that's going to be on next week. That's where I will be at, teaching the lesson. That being said, peace and blessings to all of you all. We will see you soon.